fucking burning like that? Anyway. Hi there. I'm Ant, and this is Haunt Nation. And you are Haunt Nation. We are all Haunt Nation. We're all part of the Haunt Nation. And I would love to see more of you, honestly, out at some of the haunts. We try to put up when we're going and where we're going on the Facebook page. If we run into you, great. If you see us or you think you see us, say hi, and hopefully it'll be us. If it's not, people tend to be pretty nice most of the time, so shouldn't be a problem, right? I think we're pretty nice most of the time. we can be assholes, but you know, that is what it is. As you can see, it's me, Ant. There is no T. T could not make it. This is a review from 2 weeks ago, second of 3, and as I said in the last review, I was sick all last week, so unfortunately I did not get a chance to get the reviews up. I wasn't feeling well. I wouldn't have been able to talk. I can't ramble on like I do. I couldn't have anyway. I can. I'm doing it now, but generally speaking, I couldn't have rambled on the way I do, so it wouldn't have been much fun for either of us. Any of us. Either, any, I don't know. Anyway, this one is going to be a review for Fright Farm, also in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the 2023 season. So yes, I did make it a twofer. We went on a Saturday night, got tickets for Scare House in Pittsburgh for I think like 6:30 at night, which one great thing. It's all indoors, so it doesn't matter whether you go when the sun is up or the sun is down, because you can still experience the haunt the way it's supposed to be experienced because it's indoors, right? Chose to do Fright Farm second because they have a time-dependent hayride. Hayride starts when the sun goes down. They also have, it's a hayride in multiple things, but they're not separate. So it is set up more like Headless Horseman hayride, which I will be reviewing after this. Set up like Headless Horseman hayride, where you get on the hayride, and once you get off the hayride, then you go through the rest all very linearly until you are done. They have a midway area. They have free parking. Let's start with that. Free parking. You can buy tickets online or at the box office. I believe. Do they take credit cards at the box office? I think they do. Shit, I didn't even talk about that with the last review. That's right, because I forgot anyway. It's been over a week now, so my brain is like turned to mush. But anyway, I know I did not buy. Yeah, you can buy tickets at the box office definitely, because that's where I bought my tickets. I did not buy them ahead of time because the weather forecast for the weekend was rainy. They were still open. They were still operating. It was a very light rain. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't bad, but I didn't want to buy tickets for a haunt out in Pittsburgh that's a hayride and half outside, and then have them shut down. So went, got tickets at the box office. Oh yeah. Smoking a Bahia Brazil today, by the way, and I'm drinking some beautiful Sumatra coffee from my legendary Plus 135 Intellect coffee mug, because I need the extra points. Anyhow, so the haunt is to me, it is a hayride, and then it is a house, but it's kind of not just a hayride and house. So we'll get to that. I'm going to do it all at once. Anyway, they have a midway area where they have a bunch of different games that you can play. They had, I believe, 4 or 5 what appeared to be 5-minute escape rooms. I did not partake in any of that. I made a wrong turn. I knew I should have made that right turn at Albuquerque. Made a wrong turn on the way there, thanks to my GPS, because I used, like a fucking idiot, a fucking idiot, I used the voice recognition. It was really accidental. I was going for the keyboard and hit the voice, so I was like, all right, route me to Fright Farm. Apparently my GPS is Spanish, because it didn't take me to Fright Farm, it took me to Fright Farm, which was about 45 minutes away from the Fright Farm. So went there first, was like, this is wrong. actually typed in the right place, then went there. So didn't get there super late, but didn't get there as early as I had wanted to. Got tickets, walked in. They gave you a wristband, and the wristband had a time for a hayride time. So you weren't buying tickets for a hayride time ahead of time. They were giving it to you. They were assigning you a time or a hayride number when you got there. They had a big wall, and there's a big, like, you know, number clock that just said whatever number they were accepting. You know, hayride 18, hayride 20. Huge merch shop, all sorts of t-shirts, sweatshirts. They had contacts. They had all sorts of, you know, knickknacks and things that you could buy in their merch shop. They had a couple of different places where you could get food and drinks, you know, hot apple cider, hot chocolate, soda, water. They had pizza. They had typical fare. They actually had fairly decent prices. Like, they had a cheeseburger was like, I think it was like $4. You know, hot dog was like $3 or 2 for $5 or something. I mean, it really, like, their food prices really weren't bad. I'd grabbed fast food on my way there because we were fast food. I went to the Wawa, let's be honest. That's really, and grabbed food on the way there because I didn't know, a lot of the times these places, the food prices are bananas, right? $12 for a hamburger or whatever. I didn't feel like spending that money, and I was hungry, and we were trying not to stop. We were trying to get there, especially since I'd made a wrong turn. Anyhow, now that I've bored you with enough of my private life and nonsense, so they start you out on the hayride. They only had one place that I saw that you could really take like a photo. Which is actually where the hayride lets you out of, but you wouldn't know that if you've never been there before. They get you in on a queue. The hayride is different. They sit you on a, you know, like in the typical hay cart, but it has benches across. So benches that go, you know, 4/5 of the way across. And they sit you in rows in the benches, which was interesting. Kind of good because you're sitting facing straight forward, so you can see what's going on the left and right. The rails on the side were fairly high, so you weren't going to fall out. You know, but was there going to be any interaction between people outside and you on the inside? Not so much. They take you down. I believe there was music going. There was no real theme. Take you down through different scenes, and different things happened. They could have probably had more actors along the way. The scenes were hit and miss. The actors that were there were trying. You know, they weren't doing a bad job. But I will say that it was probably not my favorite hayride of the season. It was probably one of the worst hayrides of the season. I would put it, you know, down. If you've seen the Shocktoberfest review, the Shocktoberfest hayride was better and more interactive than this one was. So it was okay. I mean, it was a good mix of outside stuff and inside stuff. When we did go into, you know, the couple of areas that they had inside areas, the actors were trying. They were into it. So I don't want to make it seem like it was terrible, because it wasn't. It just wasn't great. It wasn't a great hayride. It's not like a Bates Motel hayride or Reaper's Revenge hayride. You know, it just wasn't one of the better hayrides I've been to. I think they could do more work on it, make it more interactive. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, and I think I am, that they had, you know, one of the spinning tubes, and I don't think it was even spinning. I think. Sometimes I get so confused. Sometimes it's terrible. You go to too many of these things, then you don't do reviews fast enough, and then, you know, then your brain turns to mush. Unfortunately, couldn't have done the review. So it's not like I was being lazy this time, everybody. That's also the good thing about having a second over here, because then I could just look and go, was that? And they go, oh, yeah. Like, all right, good. And then we could bounce off each other and, you know, get more of an idea of what exactly was going on. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, now you made me remember this. I got to try to remember everything. So, anyway, coming off the hayride into an area where you could see this big house, like this big 3+ story house. And I was like, wow, this is impressive looking. Went down and got into a queue, a couple different queue lines. It seems like they were putting people in groups of... There was a group of 4, and they attached my 2 to their 4, so that was 6. But it looked like they were talking about going for higher numbers in some of the other groups. Again, if you guys know me, you know us, I really think a group of 4 through any kind of walkthrough should be the maximum. I really do think it should be the maximum, unless it's your group of friends and you want to go in as 6. Anything over 6 should be a fucking no-no. Split it up 3 and 3, 4 and 4, whatever. Anything over 6 is a no-no. You're gonna bottleneck. You're gonna miss half of it. You know, unless you're just there to make fun of your friends, it's just really gonna be a worthless experience, honestly. So the timing, though, I was actually watching the ladies that were queuing us actually had their phone out. They were setting 40-second times between groups, which is not bad. Better than 30, not as good as a minute, but 40-second times seemed reasonable. It was also getting close to the end of their night, so I'm sure they were looking to get all of us out of there as soon as possible. A lot of walk-through stuff, walk into the house, out of the house, through like a whole big graveyard scene, which was really nice. It was just a really, really nice, really moody. They had a lot of good stuff going on with lights and sounds. Like just really, really great use of lights and sounds. Really great use of smells as well in their haunt. You know, walking through the graveyard scene place was a little sparse. Hey, buddy. The graveyard scene was a little sparse. There weren't very many actors in there. There were a couple, but I mean, it was setting the mood. You're walking through a graveyard, you know, going through. Then you actually wound up walking through like a little town area, in and out of certain buildings. Some of which I was wondering, like, shit, is this up to code? But yeah, there were puddles and things. Again, it was raining. It was a rainy day, but I was still glad that I was able to go to this haunt. Costuming was pretty decent. Everybody was appropriately costumed. Not too many uses of rubber masks, but where they were, it seemed like they were appropriately used in dark areas. The actors were all into it. They were doing their jobs, which I completely appreciate. I actually had an interaction with one particular actor. No, I wasn't doing what I was bitching about other people doing. It wasn't main character syndrome. This actor actually, you know, came to me, and I kept moving as we kept interacting, and this actor moved with me up to a certain point and then faded back to where they were supposed to be, which is how it should be, right? Most of the animatronics were working that I saw. A couple were not working so very well. So the length, I mean, we went through the hayride. The hayride was a decent length. It just wasn't great. You know, it wasn't, if this were the hayride itself, I'd probably give the hayride like a 4, maybe a 5. You know, very average. Nothing stand out at all, really, except for some of the actors. Then when we got to the house, we walked in and out of the house real quick. So I started worrying personally, you know, is that it? Like, is this house just a facade? You know, this big 3-story looking house, is this just a facade? I'm happy to say it is not. The house itself was fucking fantastic. So you go through the whole graveyard thing and the backs and everything, and then eventually you wind up in the courtyard where the front of the house is, and I think that was the part that they are advertising as infected. The house was phenomenal. It really was 3 stories tall. All the actors in there were, appropriately costumed. They were really doing their jobs. There were just some fucking amazing use of light and sound. Unfortunately, the guy, I think it was the guy, it was either the guy or his girlfriend in front of us. That guy was dropping fucking ass bombs. Yeah, we noticed, motherfucker, dropping ass bombs throughout the fucking house. Like, really, he needed to clean his fucking drawers. Because I thought that motherfucker shit his pants. Because he was fucking stinking. He just kept farting up a fucking storm. But yeah, the house was as big and intricate as I thought it was. And it went on for a long, long time. So it was big, it was intricate, good use of fog. Like, probably some of the better use of fog lights that I've seen all season long in this one particular house. It really is worth going just to see that one particular house to Fright Farm. It was great. The house was just great without ruining things. Differing themes, but nothing too jarring as you walk through. There was one area where you were in you're like in a nice area, and then all of a sudden now I'm in somebody's den and I'm going up a flight of stairs. And I was like, well, that's kind of fucking weird, But other than that, everything was really cool. I can't tell you about any changes or anything that they made, because I've never been there before. What did I like? I loved the house. There was another house afterwards, like a slaughterhouse kind of thing, that was kind of short. Again, decent use of lights, just plethora of chainsaws. It would probably be better served being something else. Make it a little bigger, turn it into a sideshow with clowns or something than the typical slaughterhouse theme. If I were going to change it, that's maybe what I would do. Make it something totally different. Make it a little bit longer. What didn't I like? I would change their hayride. Honestly, I would make the hayride better. If, I get it, you're gonna have it. It's a good way to get to the house. You can see the house in the distance, but do more if you can. I mean, it seems like they've been around a long time, so spend some money in that area. Yeah, that's kind of it for the Fright Farm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm gonna go with a 7.5 out of 10. That is my personal opinion. Again, even with the shortcomings of the hayride, the house was so good, and the areas before the house were so nice. The sets were really well done. The actors were appropriate. There was really good interaction where there was, and even I'll even give the slaughterhouse, like, even with the chainsaws, they were really getting up in your face with the chainsaws, like, without touching you, but close enough that it was like really cool. So kudos to all the actors. Fright Farm, 7.5 out of 10 for the 2023 season. I'm sure I'll think about all sorts of shit on the next one that I forgot to tell you about on this one. But until then, and until next time, I'm Ant, and I'll see you on the next one.